Hello, my name is McWilliams, and today I'll be presenting a case analysis of C. Mahindra, LLC versus NGDC, or National Gold and Diamond Center, Incorporated. The case highlights key issues in contract law and risk management within the jewelry industry. Let's begin with a quick overview of the companies involved. C. Mahindra, LLC, and I'll refer to them as Mahindra from this point on, is a subsidiary of C. Mahindra Exports Limited, a global diamond and jewelry company. At its peak, the parent company reported over $600 million in annual revenue. The U.S. arm focused on wholesale distribution of loose diamonds and custom designed jewelry. Mahindra's strength came from vertical integration, controlling production from mine to market, which supported solid margins. However, its working capital was heavily tied to receivables, exposing it to liquidity risk during market downturns. The National Gold and Diamond Center, Incorporated, NGDC, is a Florida-based retailer specializing in high-end and custom jewelry. They generate annual revenues between $15 and $20 million, with relatively modest net profit margins of 4 to 5%. NGDC maintained a loyal customer base, but operated with limited capital reserves, which became a critical vulnerability during the legal dispute. The conflict centered on NGDC's failure to pay for nearly $1.2 million in diamond shipments. NGDC claimed that the goods were non-conforming and poorly documented. Mahindra countered that the transactions were backed by prior dealings, invoices, and email confirmations that clearly established the terms of their agreement. Ultimately, the court ruled in favor of Mahindra, reinforcing the importance of clear documentation and formal acceptance procedures in commercial transactions. This case was decided under the Uniform Commercial Code, or UCC, specifically Article 2, which governs the sale of goods. UCC 2-204 allows contracts to be formed through conduct, not just written agreements. The court found that prior dealings, consistent email exchanges, and payment patterns showed that a valid contract existed. They also relied on UCC 2-606. It states that retained goods without timely rejection constitutes acceptance. NGDC didn't notify Mahindra of any issues in time, weakening their defense. Under UCC 2-607, a buyer must notify the seller of non-conforming goods to retain the right to reject. Clearly, NGDC failed to do this so properly. For Mahindra, this case reinforced the value of maintaining documented communications and standardizing their invoicing processes. The favorable ruling helped recover substantial revenue and upheld their contractual rights. For NGDC, the law significantly disrupted operations. Their failure to formally reject the goods or prove nonconformity illustrates the risk of informal agreements and poor internal controls, especially for companies with thin margins and low liquidity. Mahindra's position rested on a consistent pattern of business supported by documents and behavior. They emphasized NGDC's silence and failure to reject the shipments. NGDC argued the diamonds were not conforming, but the court found no timely objections or supporting evidence of their claim. The court held that NGDC's retention of the goods signaled acceptance under UCC 2-606 and rejected their defense. The court also referenced UCC 2-208, highlighting how a course of dealing can establish contract terms even if they aren't formally stated each time. The broader implications of this case illustrates the real-world risk of informal contracting. especially in industries like jewelry where personal relationships and trust often override formal processes. To mitigate such risks, businesses should use contract lifecycle management software or programs to document terms, implement ERP systems to track invoicing, delivery, and acceptance, and ensure clear documented proof or procedures for rejecting non-conforming goods. This case also emphasized the need for businesses, especially those dealing in high-value goods, to protect themselves legally, even in recurring trusted partnerships. For a final thought, or final thoughts, in conclusion, I agree with the court's ruling. It upheld the intent and fairness behind the UCC, reinforcing good faith and commercial predictability. Mahindra acted within the bounds of law and commerce, while NGDC failed to exercise the diligence required in business transactions of this scale. The case is a reminder: if you don't formalize and document, you're vulnerable, no matter how trusted the relationship seems. Thank you, and here are the references that supported this analysis, including the UCC, Murray on contracts, and case law filings related to this dispute. Thank you.